Hello students, today I am here with one of the most confusing and difficult topics of English language, that is grammar, and the topic is the clause. Before knowing about the clauses, before we discuss about it, it is very necessary to know about the phrases. Now I want students you to look at these two sentences. The first sentence, he has a ring of silver. Another sentence, he has a ring which is made of silver. Now the group of words in sentence 1 of silver has a meaning or makes sense, you can say, but it does not make complete sense. The point is to be noted. It is not a sentence because it does not have a subject and a predicate which are essential for a sentence, right? So such a group of words is called a phrase. How can we define a phrase now? A phrase is a group of words that makes sense but not complete sense. It has no subject and no predicate. Now I want students you to look at some of the examples. Phrases may be of several kinds, but the following three kinds are really very important. Which three kinds? Noun phrase, adjective phrase, adverb phrase. Now listen to the examples. The first example, as you can see, is children love to fly kites. Now here the group of words to fly kites is acting as a noun. Another sentence, I did not watch my favorite serial. Now here my favorite serial is again noun phrase. Third sentence, flattering people is a bad habit. Now here again flattering people will be noun phrase. Now look at another group of words. She had a highly successful career. Now in this sentence, highly successful is acting as an adjective. That is why it will be adjective phrase. One more example you can take. That man wearing a brown suit is the bridegroom. Okay, so in this sentence, wearing a brown suit is defining the man. Right, it's talking about the man. It is working or it is acting as an adjective. That's why this particular group of words will be adjective phrase. Now you take example of adverb phrases. He acted in a tactful manner. In this, how did he act? If we ask this question, what's the reply? In a tactful manner. So these words are acting as an adverb. That is why they are adverb phrase. One more example you can take. I visit him now and then. So when do I visit him? Now and then, right? So now and then will again be marked as adverb phrase. Now you look at the group 2. The group of words in sentence number 2, students, which is made of silver, this part, which is made of silver, this part is not a phrase. Why? Because it has a subject. And what the subject is? Which. It has a predicate also. And what is the predicate? Is made of silver. Right? Is made of silver. Of its own. Because both the things are present. So such a group of words will not be called a phrase. Rather it will be known as a clause. Since it has a subject and a predicate. It resembles a sentence. You can say that it has similarity with a sentence. Yet it is not a complete sentence because it is not presenting the whole thought. Right? Rather it forms only a part of a sentence. Try to understand. Okay. So how can you define a clause now? A clause is a group of words that forms part of a larger sentence and has a subject and a predicate of its own. I hope so it's clear. Now you look at some of the examples. For example, we cannot start while it is raining. Now in this, while it is raining is a clause. Understood? Another example, I think that you have made a great mistake. In this particular sentence, that you have made is again a clause. He knows how he could do it. In this one also, the clause will be how he could do it. How he could do it. And you can take one more example, like people who pay their debts are trusted, right? So in this particular one, what is the clause? Who pay their debts, right? So like this we can find out clauses. In nutshell, how can we define all the three together? Means how can we distinguish among them? This best ways, please listen carefully. A phrase, a clause and a sentence, right? I'm going to differentiate or distinguish among these three. So it's very, very important. Phrase, a group of words. Clauses, a group of words. Sentence is also a group of words. This is one of the similarities, right? A phrase, no finite verb is there. It may have a subject but no finite verb. And a clause has a subject and has a predicate. Understood? And a sentence definitely has a subject and predicate because they are the parts of a sentence, right? Now let's talk about a phrase again. In phrase, it does not have a definite meaning, right? A clause has a meaning of its own. And a sentence obviously expresses a complete thought. Got my point? Okay, phrase, to obtain a definite meaning, it should be fitted in a sentence. We fit it in a sentence, right? And clause also forms a part of a larger sentence. Hope so it's very clear to you. The difference is known to you now. Now we are going to talk about the kinds of clauses. As you can look at the board, I have just drawn a flow chart over here. Clause basically is divided into two. Principal clause, subordinate clause. Now this principal clause in grammar is also known as main clause or independent clause. Why? I'm going to answer that. And the other one is subordinate clause, which is known as dependent clause. Am I clear, children? Now let me talk about each one of them separately in detail. Okay, principal clause actually is such a clause that can stand on its own. That is why it is called main clause or independent clause, because it does not depend on anyone, on any other clause, right? It is complete in its sense. It is complete in its meaning. This is the reason. And the other one, subordinate clause, which is also called dependent clause, cannot stand on its own. Means its meaning is not complete until and unless it is connected to an independent clause. You can better understand through one example. Now look at the board. Our body gets its energy from food. Alright. The body breaks down the food that we eat to produce energy. I have written two sentences on the board. In the first sentence where I have written our body gets its energy from food, children, in this sentence one subject is there. What is the subject? Our body, right? And there is one finite verb also. What is the verb? Gets. Okay. It also conveys complete meaning and can stand on its own. So it is a main clause or principal clause. Alright. Now take this example. The body breaks down the food that we eat to produce energy. In this particular one, the highlighted part which I have underlined with red one, look at that first of all. In this, what's shown? The body breaks down the food to produce energy. In this, it can stand on its own. Means this part particularly, the body breaks down the food to produce energy. Leave this, skip it for some time. It is complete in its sense, right? So hence we can say this is principal clause. And the part that we eat, it cannot stand on its own. So this part will be known as subordinate clause. Now I want you to take some more examples. Let's take one more. Okay, suppose the sentence is, listen to me. The sentence is, never speak an unkind word that might hurt others. I'm repeating the sentence. Never speak an unkind word that might hurt others. Now think logically. In this sentence, particular sentence, which is presenting a complete thought, right? It is a sentence. Never speak an unkind word is complete in its sense. Understood? It is complete in its meaning. But this part particularly, that might hurt others, needs to be added with the previous one. Until and unless we provide that principal clause, it is incomplete in its meaning, right? Got my point? Okay, let me give you one more example. Suppose the sentence is all the students who are sitting on the last bench came late. Suppose this is the sentence. So in this, what is the clause? Clause actually, who are sitting on the last bench. Think on your own. This part particularly, this group of words is depending on all the students came late. Isn't it? Yes. So all the students came late will be marked as principal clause. Alright. Who are sitting on the last bench will be marked as subordinate clause or dependent clause because it is depending. Am I clear? I think I must give you one more example. Let's take one more example. The example is from your grammar book also. It's from your grammar book only. And the sentence is, the dragon lashed its tail because it was angry. Right? The dragon lashed its tail because it was angry. Because it was angry is depending on principal clause. The dragon lashed its tail. Are you getting? So this part, the dragon lashed its tail will be principal clause. And because it was angry will be marked as subordinate clause. Got it? Okay. Now you see, look at the board. Subordinate clauses, they also have types, subkinds. Alright. Which subkinds? Noun, adjective, adverb. You can just say noun clause, adjective clause or adverb clause. Let me talk about them in detail. Okay children, now let's talk about each subkind of subordinate clause. As you can see this flow chart that I have drawn here on the board. Principal subordinate clauses. Then subordinate clauses are divided into three. Noun clause, adjective clause, adverb clause. First of all, I am talking about noun clauses. So noun clauses basically are subordinate clauses only that act as a noun in a sentence. Right? What does a noun do? Most of the times you will find in the examples also that it is answering what. And to be very specific, let me tell you something very informative about such clauses, noun clauses. You know, they may be either the subject or the object in a sentence. You can better understand with the examples. So, if the example is, nobody believed that she had committed any crime. And if I ask you a question, nobody believed what? So, I'm getting a group of words in reply, in answer, right? And that group of words is, you people can even tell me that she had committed any crime. Right? So this particular group of words will be marked as noun clause. Take one more. Suppose the sentence is, the teacher asked me if I had any problems. In this also, the teacher asked me what? If I had any problems, right? So this particular group of words, that will also be marked as noun clause. It is working as a noun. It is functioning like a noun in this sentence. Give him what he wants. Suppose the sentence is, give him what he wants. In this also, give him what? What? What he wants. This particular part will be marked as noun clause. Understood or not? Okay. So, in nutshell, I can say noun clauses are usually introduced by that, if, whether, WH question words like what, who, where, when. Okay. Now let me tell you about adjective clauses. What is an adjective, students? Adjective? How will you tell me what an adjective is? Adjective tells something about a noun or a pronoun. Right? So adjective clause, since we have already discussed and we have come to know that clauses are always a group of words. They cannot be merely a word. Right? So adjective clause, when we are talking about, it is again a subordinate clause that acts as an adjective in a sentence. Okay, children. So adjective clauses are also known in grammar as relative clauses. Why? That I am going to tell you further. Now, first of all, listen to some of the examples. Suppose the sentence is, the nation should feel grateful to all those. The nation should feel grateful to all those who laid down their lives for her. Okay, who laid down their lives for her. In this particular sentence, in this particular thought, if you pay attention, you will find the particular part who laid down their lives for her is defining those, means it's defining the people. And I've already discussed what does an adjective do. An adjective tells what kind of a person is, what kind of thing is, what kind of place is. Am I right? So here we come to know about those through this particular group of words. That is why this particular group of words who laid down their lives for her, right, will be marked as adjective clause. Okay, children. You take one more example. All the poems which he recited at the meeting were self-composed. All the poems which he recited at the meeting were self-composed. In this sentence also we can notice which he recited at the meeting. This part is telling us something about the poems. It's giving information about the poems. It's defining the poems, right? Understood? So this will be adjective clause. Am I clear? Okay. So what can I say? To sum up, I can say adjective clauses are usually introduced by relative pronouns. Like relative pronouns is one of the kinds of pronouns. You can just go through if you have forgotten. In pronouns chapter, you studied about them. So relative pronouns like who, whom, which, that, these are the examples. And relative adverbs also are included in this. When, where, they also come in this category. Okay, children, understood? Now let's talk about adverb clause. Now the last one, adverb clause. An adverb clause is again a subordinating clause only, which contains a verb and a predicate of its own, does the work of an adverb. How will you define an adverb, students? An adverb modifies the meaning of a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So here this adverb clause also functions like an adverb only, right? It says something more about a verb, an adjective, or another adverb, right? So basically adverb clauses tell when, where, with what purpose, why, or on what condition, how the action is done. They are actually related, directly related with action being performed. Okay, take example. Suppose the sentence is, she came when it was dark. Right? In this sentence, she came when? When? When it was dark. This particular part of the sentence is adverb clause. Another example. Stop where the light is red. Okay. So in this sentence also you can check out where the light is red, answering where. Got my point? As I defined you earlier also, that adverb clauses tell us when, where, and this is what an adverb does. Adverb tells us this only, right? So here also in this sentence, stop where the light is red. This part where the light is red is answering where. Obviously this will be adverb clause. I hope you have understood it. Okay. For your information, I want to add something. Listen, adverb clauses are generally introduced by when, while, before, after, since, as soon as, to show time. Where, wherever, these two are used to show place. Then because, as, since, they show reason. And so that, we use so that to show effect or result or consequence. So that all together when we are using, then it shows purpose. Okay, children? If, unless, provided that, they are used to show condition. This much information is going to be very useful for understanding the clauses as well as phrases and in comparing them with a sentence, right? Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a nice day.